Hey guys, ArkhIce here, and today with the anniversary coming really soon for GP, roughly in like a week actually, it started on like the 27th, 26th, 27th, I wanted to discuss what I think the banners are going to be for part 1, part 2, and what they possibly could do, and also what the side units are, right? Before we jump into this, I got a couple things to say. Number one, make sure you subscribe if you haven't yet, and hit that notification bell if you get notified when I upload. The second thing I want to say is I did a video like this with Nexus Grand Cross. Basically we discussed what we think the units could be, and what they could potentially do. That's all we discussed in that video, and I'm going to link that video in the description. Go check it out if you haven't yet, and go give Nexus some love. But yeah, so obviously I think that with where we're at in the story, right, with it not being Excalibur Arthur, and us having the Estarossa, basically what the Estarossa in the files leaked, Holy War Estarossa here, it says units added, Holy War Estarossa. I do think that, you know, we're gonna have a Sariel Tarmel in part 1, and then an Estarossa in part 2. So let's talk about Sariel and Tarmel first, right? Let's talk about part 1 banner, right? I think that with part 1, I think that it's gonna be a festival banner, and it's gonna be a Sariel and Tarmel, but in these forms right here. Like, they're not in their actual forms, they're in these forms, because when they came back down, they had to put their angel souls / spirits or whatever, I don't know how to describe it, in some human bodies and take over their bodies for a while to be able to fight in the, you know, the big holy war and everything, right? And I think that we're gonna get these two, right? And I think that because of the fight in Estarossa, they have to give up their bodies because the bodies are growing too weak. So they're going to break and eventually die on them if they stay in the bodies. So they decide to leave the bodies in the middle of the fight and go into their actual angel forms of the Sariel and Tarmel we know. So I honestly think that we're going to get transforming Sariel and Tarmel, right? And what we discussed in the Nexus video, the idea I had, was that Sariel and Tarmel would have very low HP and defense stats, right? Like, it could extremely low, like 50,000, 60,000 on geared HP, right? Well, like, oh, why would they have really low HP? That makes them, you know, garbage. No, it's not. Because my idea is that when they die, they come back to life as the Sariel and Tarmel we know with actual good stats, right? That's what I think that's what I'm thinking, right? Is that's what the transformation would be. It would be to represent and stimulate, you know, how they left the bodies in the middle of the Holy War fight because the bodies were growing weak and old. Because the bodies are weak and old, these bodies right here in that fight are weak and old, I think they should have low stats to represent that. When they die, they transform, right? Also, low stats is to counteract the having a second life. Basically having a goddess Liz survive on top of a goddess Liz survive. You know? So yeah, that's what I think they're going to do, right? And for Sariel, I think Sariel is going to be just like a pure offensive unit. While Tarmiel, he is going to be really offensive, but offensive. Not offensive like he's offending someone. With Tarmiel's ult or everything, right? I think Tarmiel's ult is going to be like Estarossa's, to where it's like, you know, the darkness, you know, taking over everything, and then it's a full encounter. If you attack, he hits you with it. But instead of darkness, you know, as Tarmiel's powers is the ocean, right? As we saw in the fight, he puts Estarossa in the ocean dimension. I think he's going to, whenever an opponent attacks and uses his ult, he's going to trap them in the ocean dimension and do a lot of damage to them, right? I think instead of AoE, it's going to be instead be a single target and be a much higher percentage, right? That's what I think they're going to do with Tarmiel. That would be amazing, right? And with Sariel, it's just going to be a big AoE damage dealing ult, because we saw in the fight, he controlled a gigantic tornado, right? And because the two worked well together and everything, they worked together, because they're in this form right here, this one and then this one, I think that the other Sariel and Tarmiel will be able to link with them Like with this Sario right here, he'll be able to link with the old Tarmiel, and this one's link will be the old Sario because they're supposed to be working together and everything, right? And they work co-op together. I think that would be really amazing, right? That would be top tier, mate. That would be amazing. And then I also think that the Graces, right? I think their Graces are going to be different. I think the Graces are going to be slightly different. At least with Tarmiels. I think Tarmiels is going to be slightly different. And Sarios as well, because they're in different forms and everything. They have the chance to be different. Just like how Zeldris, because he's a different form of Zeldris, he had a different commandment. I honestly think, based off of that, they could have a different Grace because this is a different Sario and Tarmiel, right? And I think because of where they are in the fight, the side unit, the side free unit, I think could be a really good Death Pierce because we haven't got a new one yet. And Death Pierce, if you didn't know, was in that Holy War fight, right? Right before Derriere flew in and everything with Esteros chasing her. We saw Death Pierce saying, "Oh, I can take on all these demons any day and everything," and then the archangels appear, saying, "I wouldn't, judge that. I wouldn't do that because you have Goddess Liz back here healing you consistently, make sure you don't die." That's legitimately what happens, right? And then Derriere flies in and then discusses things, asks you questions, and Esteros flies in, and the fight begins, right? That is what I think part 1 is going to be, with the side unit being Death Pierce. Part 2, I think it's going to be, of course, the Esterosa that's there. I think that this Holy War Esterosa is going to be there, right? And my idea for this Esterosa was he has the ability to have multiple commandments. So here's what's going to happen, right? I think he's going to work like Escanor. So his passive is going to be every single turn he gets another commandment added onto him. Up to 3 turns. I think he had like 3 or 4 commandments at the time. I don't want to look it up because I'll look it up first, make sure I get an exact number for you. I don't want to show it on stream, just on video, because there are some major spoilers. I don't want spoiling people, right? Because no one wants that. Okay, so I went and looked at it, right? He has his original commandment, right? And then he absorbs 1 commandment. And then that's Gallon's commandment, right? And then after a while, he absorbs Monspeed's commandment in that fight, right? So he absorbs 2 more commandments, so he has 3 in total. So I think every single turn he's going to absorb a new commandment up to 2 turns. And then when he absorbs that final commandment, he's going to turn from normal Esterosa, transforming into this Esterosa, with entirely new skills and stuff, right? And I think with that, he's actually going to get a full heal to make sure he counteracts that. He's going to get a full heal, and he's going to go become new skills and everything, right? It's going to be a purely... I think he's going to have, like, a big, taunt that's, like, defense-related stats, because in that fight, he tanked attacks from Sario, Tarmiel, Derriere, Goddess Liz, so many big attacks from them. I think he's going to have, like, a defense-related stats taunt, like Derriere's, or maybe, like, Deanne's, if they want to, go crazy and everything. Grand Cross, do that, please. Make it where they have a taunt like Derriere / Deanne's, right? And then he's going to have, like, a big attacking card. And I also want to state that with his commandments and everything, right? I think that he's going to cycle between the commandments each turn. So each turn, each commandment's going to cycle through. Because it would be a really interesting unit, right? They have each commandment cycle through each turn, to where each one is active at a different turn and everything. That would be honestly really cool. And I think that could happen, right? That's what I might guess for him, right? And I think the side unit that we're gonna get for this banner would be a new Derriere unit, because as you know, he's chasing Derriere, right? He's chasing Derriere. That's how he ended up with the Archangels and Goddess Liz. Yeah. So I think the side unit is gonna be Derriere unit. I don't know what her skills are. I know that there's some Derriere skills in the game with Final Boss Derriere that we haven't gotten yet in a Derriere. So it could be some of those skills and everything. I have no clue what her passive would be, honestly. I don't. Yeah, I couldn't tell you. But I think that in that fight, it is a short-haired Derriere there. So it might be, instead of long-haired Derriere right there, it might be a short-haired Derriere instead. It may be slightly different. And it may be a different Derriere name than the other Derrieres. It might be like a new type of Derriere. I don't know. And then of course, if this is the anniversary, and this is what happens, this is gonna be really hype, right? That means that 3 months after this, the next festival banner is gonna be extremely hype. I'm not gonna say anything about it, but for what comes and everything, right? So that would mean the next 4 to 5 months of Green Cross is just gonna be really hype units, and I cannot wait for that. If this is the anniversary, and these are the anniversary units, that would be really hype. But yeah, that's my predictions for the units and what the banners would be and everything, right? Thank you guys for watching. Oh, make sure you go check Nexus out in the description. I did link our video we made in the description together. Yeah, thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys next video. Bye bye.